Hello, this is Michael from COMA Music Magazine with Ben V from Ludovico Technique. Say hello.
How you doing, COMA?
In just under a year and a half, you have gone from self-releasing your self-titled EP to being signed briefly by Crunchpod and then being picked up by Metropolis and what I have dubbed Operation Sign the Scene 2011. I know you have been busting your asses for years now, and once things got moving, they really moved quite fast. Do you feel better with the position you're in, with it being hard-earned rather than if you had been signed by Metro a few years ago?
You know, it's funny. I think that we've always done what we do, no matter what. I mean, whether or not you're signed. There's a funny thing about the industrial scene. If you're not signed, a lot of people don't give you any sort of validation, and as soon as you get signed, it's like all of a sudden everyone turns their heads and goes, oh, you guys are valid. And I think to any artist out there that is currently unsigned, don't worry about that sort of thing. Just, put your heart and spirit into what you do, and it'll eventually come if, that's the sort of thing. As far as us being signed, it's funny because we're still doing exactly what we would do anyway. We've gotten probably better and more seasoned, but there wasn't some sort of let's get signed kind of campaign or anything where we change anything really about what we do. And so I'm really glad that Metropolis and previously Crunchpod, kind of saw something in that, but we're still doing what we would do anyway,
Earlier this year, as many artists are beginning to do, you used Kickstarter to raise tour funds. Did it go as you expected? I noticed the more unique and therefore more expensive items sold better than the really common low end of the donation range.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. I mean, in this scene, some of the smaller artists that aren't like as established, it's a really kind of almost not musically but ethically like kind of punk rock do-it-yourself kind of thing. And I think the Kickstarter fund is a really good way for, let's say, fans to get some of those items. Like, I used to wear like an apron that had all sorts of gunk and I think blood or something on it, and I stopped kind of doing that, and we put that up there, and I think someone got that. We do angle grinding and stuff on stage, and we actually auctioned off one of the sheets of metal that we had grinded on, and I think we have 2 white banners with the LT logo, and I think the old ones, we got new ones, and the old ones we put up there as well. And I think it's a really good thing because people can get stuff that they normally wouldn't be able to from really underground bands that, that sort of thing is you get to be close to the artists that you enjoy. And I think it's a good thing. As far as some of the smaller items, we had the CDs on there, we had stickers and stuff like that, but I always look when all the other industrial artists I always look to see what kind of stuff they put on. I know there's artists that have put all sorts of crazy stuff, and I think it's a great thing,
Well, even as something as simple as a playlist can mean a lot to a big fan.
Yeah, definitely.
You've just started getting out of Florida on tour this past year and had the opportunity to play WT2 Minifest. As a fairly new band and someone who I know loves the scene, how was that for you? And did you meet anyone who have looked up to you as your musical career has developed?
It was a very good show. It was here in Chicago, and it's funny because as people learn who we are, at first, we go on stage and people are kind of like, what the hell is this? And I think they can relate to the fact that there is a very true, like, kind of genuine feel to what we do. We're not doing anything because we think someone likes it. Because in all reality, because of what we do, we know a lot of people may not like it. And so when it really comes down to it, you're either going to be able to relate or you're not. And that's, something that we're not really, you know what I mean? Like, we don't change. There's nothing, it's industrial music. I mean, it's a very small market compared to rock and roll or something like that. And so there's no reason not to do what it is that you love. Because if you do, it's like, compared to another market, you're selling your soul. And you guys, other bands can sell their soul, we'll just bear ours, As far as meeting anyone, to be honest, and he doesn't know this, and I didn't say anything, but I was outside, and I was talking to somebody about the music that we listened to in the car on our way to shows in the tour buses and stuff, and we were talking about a specific artist that most fans wouldn't think that we both listened to. And I didn't really know who it was. He was like, hey, how you doing? My name's Chris and stuff. And I got home, and I was like, oh, that was such a cool dude. And I looked him up, and he's in a band called Unit 187, and it ended up being Chris Peterson. And I was really glad I didn't know that, because had I known that he was like in frontline assembly and like all these things, I probably would have said some pretty stupid things, embarrassing things, you know, so that's that.
You are part of the Ludovico Technique. Is it working? Is it helping you make you normal?
I think it's a lot better to do what I do, what we do. I think it's a lot better to do that on stage in kind of a cathartic way than if I don't do that, then it just kind of comes out at home. And it's much better to have those emotions expressed, even if they're negative emotions. I think it's far better to express those in a constructive manner than allow them to permeate your life. And I think the more that you put negative emotions into a constructive manner, they probably haunt you a bit less in day-to-day life. And yes, I would say the more we get out on the road, the more we tour, it definitely is. Well, I get to go home and just kind of relax, and that world is away a bit. And I always know, because when I haven't written anything in a little bit, a hot minute or something, and we haven't played, I start feeling it, and you know, I gotta just kind of get it out. You know?
Awesome. So you feel like you get all of that aggression out on stage, and you're perfectly normal when you're
I would say that I'm as normal can be at home. And no, I think it is a very healthy thing. And I think anyone watching this, if you're on the fence on, I don't know how to do that, I don't know, you know, I want to be an artist or I want to make music, but how do you do that? Just do it. Just go and do it, and it'll be the greatest thing in your life if that's what you're meant to do.
You've stated in the past that you write all the music for the band. Can you see a point in the future where you're able to collaborate with the live members and let them become contributors in the writing process?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not what I would say kind of a my way and no one else. You know, if anyone wanted to contribute anything and we all kind of agreed, yeah, that's definitely, I think Ludovico Technique has a certain vibe. And so I know all the other members are musicians in their own right. If they wanted to bring something to the table that
Meal voucher.
Thank you so much, sir.
Meal voucher.
Tony from Bellamorte. What I would say is yes. I'm not one of those front men who am like, no, you know. I'm definitely open to it, and I think, but everyone knows there's a certain vibe. So if they came to me and were like, Ben, this is Ludovico Technique. I went, you know, I was at home, I wrote this, check it out. I'd probably be like, you know what, you're right. It is. That part is. Let's do it. You know. So.
But you don't mind turning ideas down.
I think the captain of the ship kind of has to go. We're a little off course or something like that. And I think the reason they enjoy probably being part of it is they know that I'm steering the ship in in that direction. You have to follow your captain if you trust your captain, or else you'll get some mutiny. And I think that they know that I have a vision, and that's why it's probably. I mean, I don't know. You know, that's probably why it's so easy to go, you know what, we're on course. Let's do it.
I've seen a few interviews that said your full length, Some Things Are Beyond Therapy, was supposed to be released at some point last year. What's holding it up, and is it all these tours you keep going out on?
I wouldn't say that going out on the road is in any way hindering art. What I'll say is what happened was probably the signing with Metropolis. We originally were just going to release it on CrunchPod, and when Metropolis came, it was kind of like, okay, well, let's go ahead and do that, but let's maybe take, you know, it upped the ante a little bit. And I think it was like, okay, well, like I said, we'll release it on CrunchPod, that'll be that, and whatever. And then with the Metropolis deal, that took a few months just to hammer out and negotiate to begin with. Then, yeah, we have been touring a lot. But I'll say that it will be out, I promise. I mean, we played songs tonight, actually, most of our set. If you've seen us live, most of those tracks are actually going to be what's on the debut Metropolis release, Some Things Are Beyond Therapy. So.
Awesome. Is there any last thing you'd like to add to the fans?
What I'll say is this. Industrial has seen some dark days, and I know that times can be tough in this culture, and a lot of people get cynical. A lot of people turn their backs because they're maybe possibly disenfranchised. I'll tell you what, I love music as well, and this is our culture. This is my culture. This is your culture. Don't stop. We're not going to stop, and we're here. And we came to wreck everything and ruin your lives. God sent us, you know? So, anyway, yeah. If you love music, keep doing music. Don't give up. do what's in your heart.